People often ask me why I decided to walk the length of the UK. Was it for adventure? Do I just not like sun holidays? To raise money for charity? Well, yes, I absolutely do love adventure. And I do in fact love a sun holiday when I can afford it. And I didn't do it to raise money for charity. I walked from John O'Groats down to Land's End just for me. It probably all starts back when I was showing problematic signs with my cervix. It turned out I had SIN3 precancerous cells on my cervix. Yay! Prior to that, I had my cervix frozen due to the changes, and at that point in my life I had never known pain like it. A year later, I am now having my cervix sliced to remove the bad cells. Yay! It took me about 3 months to recover physically, but also mentally. It really is amazing how disconnected a minor surgery like that can just make you feel in your body and mind. It's just a huge disconnect. I had to wait 9 months to find out if I was all clear, which, yeah, that's how I felt. But whilst I was waiting, something else was happening to my body, and I just knew it was my hormones. 2 years and many doctors later, no one was wanting to help. I just couldn't get one single doctor to give me a test. I just needed a blood test. I just needed to know what was going on with my hormones. But in all honesty, I knew up here. I knew exactly what was going on with my hormones. It was what I called belly up. They were just clearly totally unbalanced. And the fact that I just never really felt like I was getting heard was getting me completely down. I was so low, along with the fact that I was just so tired all the time as well. And then my hormones, I just felt like I was taking a ride on the pirate ship at Alton Towers constantly. It was during this point where I was really starting to get in my head. Hi, Ozzy. You want to come back in? Come on then. Let's just shut up. And then, yeah, come on. You got to jump. Come on. Woo, there he is. Come on, kitty cat. Oh my gosh. Down you get. Where was I? And now we have a pug in the background. Herschel, get down. Get down. Herschel. Herschel Puggins. Get down. The camera can't figure you out. You're like a spooky ghost. It was just, I don't know where I was. So it was during this point where I was really starting to get in my head. I didn't know whether I was going to be able to get pregnant. Being a mother was something that I really had dreamed of for a long time. It hit me hard when I was about 27. It was clearly one of those moments where I hit 27, bomb went off inside me, and it was like, boom, your biological clock is ticking, Leah, get on with it. So this one visit to the doctor is particularly special. I actually took my partner with me in hope that they might just take things a little bit more seriously if there was a man in the room. Alas, no. This doctor was adamant that I didn't need to take any tests. I just needed to get pregnant. Yes, our jaws hit the floor. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Apparently, getting pregnant in this doctor's eyes would just reset my hormones, and then everything would be okay and I would live in blissful harmony. I recall my partner saying, but what if it doesn't? Like, what if she has to deal with that and now she has to take care of a baby? So what was I actually experiencing? I was constantly in a low mood, stereotypically dark cloud. You know, that stereotypical dark cloud that's always following you, it's raining on you. That was happening. And like I said before, pirate ship, my moods were just constantly taking a huge swing. And then on top of that, the fatigue that I was feeling was so extreme. There were days that I just felt like I could not get out of bed, even if I'd had a good night's sleep. And whilst all this was going on, I was working a 9 to 5, which is an absolute nightmare for me, because I'm not a morning person. So eventually I experienced just extreme burnout, and it's that old story, you know, overworked, underpaid, etc, etc. I needed to get out of this loop. 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 I remember turning to my colleague and saying, I'm going to do it. I'm going to walk the length of the UK. And I spoke to my partner that night. This is going to sound crazy, but for a long time now, I've really wanted to walk the length of the UK. It really was something that I wanted to do for a very long time, way back into my 20s. And I remember I would bring it up with certain people that were in my life at that point, and I would just be laughed at. I would just be laughed at for even thinking it. And so in that moment of telling my partner, Mark, I said, I want to walk from Groats to Land's End, and I was expecting it. I was ready for the ridicule, and he just said, go for it, baby. I was completely shocked. I was actually being encouraged to follow a dream, and I just felt really grateful in that moment that I actually had someone that was doing that for me, because I've not really experienced that before. So he's always been my rock. He's always been my cheerleader. However, I've always been that person that goes way too big. I go way too big. I just need to start small. I could have started small by doing one trail. I could have done a nice stroll along Cumbrian Way. I could have gone and done West Highland Way. But no, I was like, let's go walk for 3 months instead. And I was a day hiker. So this whole idea is pretty ambitious. Walking had always been one thing that really just quieted my mind. Like every time I went hiking, I would come back and I would just have a sense of peace. I would feel so much lighter. And dare I say, more capable. I felt capable of doing things. You know, I was more like myself. Like, you know, when you're out in the hills, all that noise, it just disappears, because the noise in my head, like most of the time, it's very loud. But when I go hiking, it just disappears. And all I kept thinking was, if a day walking could make me feel so much better, what would 3 months do? So making that decision was definitely the first step in making the right one. I was just in a very, very dark place. I'd gotten very, very low. And this was my way of getting myself one step closer to the light in the dark hole that I was suffering in. I'm not going to go into details on this. I'm just literally going to highlight that I was in a very dark place. And giving myself this project just slowly pulled me. You know, it sounds really cheesy, but it really did pull me back to a bit of light. Just working out the route, the logistics, researching accommodation, imagining the places that I could be going to visit. It just gave me something that I hadn't felt in such a long time. Excitement. And I think people around me did assume that I would just probably move on to some other kind of idea and forget that I'd ever said that this is what I wanted to do. Oh, just let her have a little project and she'll move on soon. It didn't happen. Problem was, I was incredibly impatient. So I was worried that the longer I waited to do this, the longer I left it, the harder it would be for me to get out of this darkness that I was in. All I just wanted to feel healthy again. I want to feel strong. Like I said before, capable of doing something, be able to conceive, and yeah, just that sense of achievement. So I worked out that I could save 3 months worth of mortgage payments and bills before June. The rest of the money, well, I was like, I'll figure that out. I do believe when you start thinking like that, it's probably the definition of a midlife crisis. Looking back, looking back now, I don't think it was a midlife crisis at all. I think it was the first time in years that I had decided to take control of my own life. And that decision ended up changing my life in ways I could never have imagined. I didn't realise how emotional I would be just saying those words, because I don't know if you've heard, if you're watching me for the first time and this is the first time you've heard my story, you can probably hear in the background right now that that's my baby girl stacking cups. Well, not stacking cups, just whacking them together. She's not, you know, she's not old enough yet to be able to do that. She's clever, but not that clever. So if you'd like to find out what happened after my journey of walking John O'Groats to Land's End, make sure you subscribe, because I have got plenty more stories to tell. And if you've never watched the full journey of walking from John O'Groats down to Land's End, I will leave a complete playlist for you now. Ta-da! I'd love for you to come along and experience the UK on foot with me.